Hi, this is Erin Acton, known by some as an authority on going from burnout to balance. And today in this live video, I'm going to share with you how to set boundaries with your work schedule so you can allow yourself better balance. Now, if you master this concept, you're going to experience greater satisfaction with your work. You'll likely even get more work done than before. You'll feel less stress and anxiety, and you'll be on your way to creating healthy habits that support you, because you're no fun when you are exhausted and overwhelmed all the time. I can speak to that from firsthand experience. So first, you're going to want to remember this word: boundaries. I'm going to pop it up on the screen here too. So write down the word boundaries and keep it handy. All right, setting boundaries around your schedule and leaving the office or your desk at a specific time every day was something that I did, and it helped enormously when I was struggling with burnout while I led the communications for a $50 million company. And now, as a certified life and business coach, I get to help leaders and entrepreneurs to get off their own hamster wheels so that they can feel more confident, more productive, more successful, because really they do feel trapped and like a wall is coming, and in some ways feel really powerless to change it. They're awesome. They're super good at powering through, but it's starting to take its toll on their productivity, their energy, their confidence, on their families, in their careers, even noticing some negative impacts there, and with their health. And if this resonates for you, you are in the right place. And I really want to honor your showing up for this training and absorbing everything I'm about to share with you, because it really signifies your personal commitment to creating better work-life balance in your life. Here's how I set my own boundaries with my work schedule to create better balance, and how I now help others to do the same. Because when I was leading the communications for a $50 million company, I was in the corporate world then, I'd been working at the office until 7 or 8 at night pretty regularly, or until 10 or 11 at night on some days. And then I'd come home, scarf down some food, and do more work, usually until midnight or 1 a.m. Now, obviously, this wasn't sustainable. It wasn't working for me. It wasn't working for my family. It wasn't working for my colleagues. And I wanted to change that. So I set boundaries, but I set them with myself. No one was forcing me to work those hours. I was choosing to work those hours to try to get ahead, because I always felt like I was behind, or that I was going to drop a ball. And my to-do list was never done. And I really felt trapped, like so many of the people who work more closely with me. So what is the takeaway here? You need to set boundaries with yourself. And here is how you can go about doing that. It's simple, but not necessarily easy. There are a couple of steps. I'll lay them out for you first and then go into each one in more detail. Step 1, you need to change your mindset. To change your mindset, you need to look your fears in the face. To say, take action and actually leave the office at a specific time. It's likely going to mean that you'll need to get up from your desk when you know you still have a ton of stuff left to do. And it's going to feel really uncomfortable. It might even trigger some anxiety for you at first when you first start working less and sticking to those boundaries that you set for yourself. Again, I do go much deeper into how to set work-life balance goals that you'll actually achieve and keep doing in my free training at lastingbalance.com. There's terrific support for you there to take what I'm sharing here even deeper once our broadcast here is done. I've got you totally covered over there on what it takes to create lasting work-life balance. So make sure you do go to lastingbalance.com and take this even further. For this training here today, when you're trapped in that cycle, feeling like you need to put in the extra hours to get ahead, you're usually motivated by fear. That fear that you'll drop a ball, that you'll fall even further behind, that you might miss something. And if any of those things happen, well, then something bad will happen. You'll experience like those dire consequences. So that is the fear. You don't know exactly what that bad thing is because if you're like me and like a lot of the people that I work with, you don't really look at or acknowledge the fear because it is so terrifying. So that dark, scary cloud hangs right over your shoulder and holds incredible power over you. And in fact, that fear holds you hostage, and it's what's keeping you trapped on that hamster wheel, stuck in that cycle of working harder, faster, longer. And you probably tell yourself things like, it's just until this project's over. Once this project's done, then I can rest. But just when you get up to that light at the end of the tunnel, you realize, hey, that light's just your boss with a torch handing you more work to do. Or if you're an entrepreneur, you're your own boss, so you think of you as that with your next great idea, and that you just need to dig deep for it again. And so your cycle continues. Changing these thoughts, this mindset about why you need to keep working, like what's really driving you there, is critical. And that takes us to step number 2. To change your mindset, you really need to look your fears in the face. Let's look at those fears. They're going to be a bit different for everyone, but have similar themes. And maybe it's that you'll get fired from your job if you don't put in the hours. Maybe for those of you in your own business, it's that you'll lose all of your clients and have to get a day job. Horror of horrors. So in whatever way this fear shows up for you, know this, that the fear is usually based on a fictional worst case scenario. A fictional worst case scenario. I think I'll write that out again just so you can absorb it. And those assumptions are usually not realistic. It's things like, well, I'll get fired, or that I'll lose all of my clients. Take a look at what your fear is. What is that worst case scenario? Look at that dark cloud right in the eyes. And once you've identified that fear, what it is specifically for you, ask 2 questions. How likely is this to happen? And what are the blessings that could result from this worst case scenario? Let's, for example, why don't we take a look at the example of losing all of your clients and needing to get a day job, that worst case scenario. How likely is that to happen? Well, not really, because you'd have to do something pretty drastic to lose all of your clients all at once, So what are the blessings if that actually happened? Let's suppose that something horrible happens and that you do lose all of your clients and you need to get a day job stat. I mean, that's assuming you can't get other clients. You can't make amends for it. So assuming you need to get a day job, what are the blessings in that? Well, could be a steady paycheck. Maybe you'll get a chance to pay your bills now regularly on time. Maybe you'll even get some benefits with the workplace that you sign up with that you don't have as an entrepreneur. So it's once you do that, you can see how, well, geez, that doesn't seem so bad. What was I so afraid of in the beginning? So to recap how to set boundaries around your work schedule so that you can create better balance, first of all, you need to realize that you're setting boundaries with yourself. Once you realize that, really work to change your mindset. That's step 2. And to change your mindset, you need to look your fears in the face by identifying that fear, that worst case scenario, assessing how likely it is to happen for you, counting your blessings that could come from the worst case scenario. And for those of you who wrote down the word that I shared at the beginning of the broadcast, I'm getting set to tell you about the contest. So it's nearly time. Are you ready? If you did join me partway through the broadcast, when we're finished here, go back to the beginning, and then you can listen in to get that word, and then come back to this point where I say it and add that word in. And I'm doing this for fun and to really acknowledge you for your commitment in improving your life through this training, sticking with me to the end here, and really just want to acknowledge and honor that. So for those of you who know the word, here's what you're going to win, or what you could win. You have to be fast, though. You could win a private and confidential one-to-one burnout to balance strategy session with me. In that, we're going to look at where you are right now, what you most want your life to look like. What is that balance for you specifically? Because it's a bit different for everyone else, and it's not often what society tells us work-life balance should be. So what do you want work-life balance to look like for you? Then we'll really look at what is getting in your way of having that, those challenges and obstacles that pop up, and what your next step should be to create lasting balance for yourself. Incredibly valuable strategy session. I can't wait to share them with you. I've got a limited availability, so only the first 3 to enter the word will win a strategy session with me. So go ahead, enter that word now. If you don't know what it is, go back to the beginning, listen to the beginning of the broadcast, watch it, I should say, get that word, come back to this point, and add that word in so that you can win a strategy session with me. So go ahead, if you know it, enter that word now. And of course, to take this training even further with more free training from me, go to lastingbalance.com and learn what you'll need to do to create work-life balance goals you'll actually achieve and keep doing. That's lastingbalance.com. And until next time, take really good care of you.